I'm Deborah. I'm part of Stamford Transition Town, and this is our first event where we're trying to tell people about what's going on in Stamford and how people can get involved in dealing with things to do with climate change and energy efficiency, resource use. So the first one we've got here is waste. We're trying to look at where does waste come from, where does it go to, what do you do with it. So it's a very practical thing. What we try to do here is to show where you can take things to be recycled, so you know where you can take your carrier bags, DVDs and such like. And we've also then tried to help people to explain what the different plastics are, so that you have some idea of what all these different symbols mean. Some authorities you can recycle some things and some you can't, so it's useful to know where to find them. So that's all we're trying to show here. And then in here we have our wormery. And here they are, happily munching away. And if I lift the corner up, there you go. So they're just dealing with all the waste and making it into a liquid fertiliser, which comes out of a tap at the bottom on that side. And there's also straightforward compost that you can then use on the garden. So there's a number of things that we're doing on waste. And then the next bit we're looking at is education. Now education of course goes across everything that we do. It's not simply in a little ghetto on its own. But we try to take things out to individuals and groups of people in the colleges and schools locally. So here you've got a game that was being developed to try and introduce people to the ideas of what money is, how it works, and how you can introduce ethics into that idea of how money works around the world. So as I say, education goes across everything. So for instance, one of the other things we're looking at here within Stamford is what transport is available to us, how we might be able to improve the transport that we've got already. What we're trying to do here is to link in a number of the different maps that are available. If you're particularly looking to find public transport, or if you're looking to find a cycle route or anything along those lines. Transport in and around Stamford to give people an idea of what options are available to them. So we've got things like maps of the bus transport around the area, and also some of the optional buses that you can use, the Full Connect system, for where you don't have a particular bus going where you want to go. So that's quite a useful system. The other things that we're quite interested in are looking at how the national bike network fits in. We have a national route coming through Stamford, but there are gaps in that. So that's the sort of thing that we'd like to try and fill some of those gaps. Where do we need cycle paths? Where are there accident black spots that could be dealt with more easily? So that's the sorts of things that we're trying to do with transport. Encourage people to use transport more effectively. Let me get on to we're working here to give people an idea of what things reduce and so. So we have an allotment which has been gifted to us by the local council, and this is the allotment where we're just starting up, and you've got a mixture of people there, people who have used gardens before and know how to garden, and people who are learning. So that's part of it as well, is trying to introduce people to things that they don't know that they knew how to do. And here we're just trying to link in with some of the other local groups as well. So where we've got, for instance, the local Stamford Community Orchard group, we're linking in with them, and they've brought along some of their apples because it being autumn time, there's lots of fruit available now. And if you look around Stamford, you'll see there are quite a lot of trees with fruit falling on the ground, and it seems such a waste. It could be juice, it could be cider, it could be all sorts of things. So that's the sort of thing we're trying to do here. We also have a link in with the local bakery on the slope. So again, rather than reinvent groups, we're linking in with groups that are already doing things in this area. We're not trying to tread on anybody's toes, we're trying to work together, make it into a bigger community. And then the last one that we have as a group at the moment is looking at energy. Now energy is always going to be at the root of a lot of what we do. We know that what's producing the carbon dioxide, the other various things that are into the atmosphere, are coming from our use of energy. So what we're trying to do here is to look at how we can better use energy, whether that be through using insulation. And you'll have heard the stories before, but you know, insulation does make a difference. It's boring stuff, but it makes a difference. Making better use of the way that you use the heat you've got already. So heating controls, sealing up the draft. So just plain ordinary draft excluder. It really does a good job. It keeps the drafts out, it keeps the heat in. And then at this end of the table we're trying to explore a bit more about where energy comes from. So there are other sources. It's not just having to come from fossil fuels. You can use things like the sun in a variety of ways. You can capture it to make electricity using photovoltaics. There are air source heat pumps which grab the heat from the air, or the waste heat that you find generated around the place from our everyday life and from the sun can be taken out and used by the heat pumps. And of course there's also wind power. So there's a lot of stuff that you can get available to you from these renewable resources, things that are not burning up energy. And then towards the end here, what we've tried to do, we've had trying to just get people to understand a little bit more about where their energy goes and how you can save energy a little bit more. I mean, who would have thought that if you painted your room a lighter colour that you would save energy? But you do, because it keeps the heat reflection inside the room as opposed to absorbing it and sending it outside. So there's all sorts of things just to try and stimulate some ideas by using that questionnaire. And at the end here we've got a fabulous graffiti board, and what we tried to do is to ask people what it is they think would make Stamford a better place, particularly obviously focusing on renewable energies and saving energy. And we've got some fabulous things in here. So we've got quite a few wind turbines that people have suggested would be useful around the town. We've got people looking at different sorts of transport, so we've got bicycles around the place, quite a few bicycles. And we've also got people simply walking around, enjoying walking around, taking a dog for a walk, and that sort of thing. What I quite like here is this dog here, being taken for a walk, and it's called Eco, a good name for a dog. And then over here, we've got our banner, which is showing you some of the key sorts of messages. The first bit at the bottom there, act locally, think globally. It may sound a bit trite the way it comes off the tongue, but it's true that you can make a difference. This is a global problem, but you can make a difference. And it also encapsulates some of our working together, because the logo there was designed by a student at New College as part of their coursework, looking at how to go in for logo design. And we were spoilt for choice. We had a choice of different logos to look at, and that's what we chose, as encapsulating what we would like to see about Stamford. And then we're finishing off here by looking at what it is we're all about, reminding ourselves what we're all about. We're helping Stamford to meet the challenges of less oil and climate change. And that, I think, is probably all we've got so far. But if anybody feels like joining us, just get to our website. It's www.stamfordtransitiontown.org.uk. Thank you.
It's so complicated, they've got so much involved. But they've got to send the sort of people who've got an office all the time running. All retired accountants, sort of people. Brixton is much more difficult than being a place. I mean, obviously, if you've got a small area like Buckland or here, where you've got a local area where the different things and tropical fish, makes it more obvious than that.
I mean, it was just something to just provoke.
No, that is a good idea, though, isn't it? I mean, I think there's some things we have to